So first, let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight. Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage? I'll tell you, I'm not a politician, Brett. You're right about that. I'm an entrepreneur. My parents came to this country with no money 40 years ago. I have gone on to found multi-billion-dollar companies. I did it while marrying my wife, Apoorva, raising our 2 sons, following our faith in God. That is the American dream. And I am genuinely worried that that American dream will not exist for our 2 sons and their generation unless we do something about it. And I do think Brett is going to take an outsider, because for a long time we have professional politicians in the Republican Party who have been running from something. Now is our moment to start running to something, to our vision of what it means.
He's playing the politics game, but I need an actual,
If you
position.
have a broken car, you don't turn over the keys to the people who broke it again. You hand it over to a new generation to actually fix the problem. That's why I'm in this race, and we're just getting warmed up.
I'm gonna
Nikki Haley's my favorite so far.
Yeah, this isn't that complicated, guys. Unlock American energy, drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear. Put people back to work by no longer paying them more to stay at home. Reform the U.S. Fed, stabilize the U.S. dollar, and go to war. The only war that I will declare as U.S. president will be the war on the federal administrative state that is the source of those toxic regulations acting like a wet blanket on the economy. So I'm not sure I exactly
he's saying
understood
a
Mike
lot of,
Pence's comment, but I'll let you all parse that out. For me, it's pretty
romanticized
simple.
words.
That's something a
He's
U.S.
playing the
president
game.
can do
He's playing the
with
game really
focus,
well.
and I'll deliver on it.
That shit's not moving me, though.
If I can. I'll go slower this time.
I sometimes struggle with the
Okay.
I was
Pence.
a House conservative leader before it was cool. I actually pushed the Deficit Reduction Act. That was the last time we actually reduced the
Vivek is
national
just
debt
saying
in the
stuff.
United
I don't know if
States
he really
when I was the
understands
leader of House
policy.
conservatives.
I agree with the
balanced
nuclear
budgets
energy
and cut
part.
taxes
Other than
when I
that,
was
I feel
governor.
like you're just saying a
I mean,
bunch
look,
of
Joe
romanticized
Biden has
Republican
weakened this
jargon.
country at home and abroad. Now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people
I'm giving Pence a point for that shot. Not gonna lie. That was a great shot.
30 seconds.
Oh, man. That was hilarious. Okay, Pence.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
Why are
Not
we?
moving
I
me.
just want to respond to Mike for 1 second because he invoked me back. Listen, now that everybody's gotten their memorized, pre-prepared slogans out of the way, we can actually have a real discussion now. The reality and the fact of the matter is...
Was that one of yours?
Not really, Mike, actually. We're just going to have some fun tonight. And the reality is, you have a bunch of people, professional politicians, super PAC puppets, following slogans handed over to them by their 400-page super PACs last week. The real choice we face in this primary is this. Do you want a super PAC puppet, or do you want a patriot who speaks the truth? Do you want incremental reform, which is what you're hearing about, or do you want revolution?
Okay.
And I stand
Bro,
on the
he's
side
saying
of
all these
American
big overarching
revolution.
words. He's not saying
We're gonna
anything
take control
policy-wise.
back here.
The only
We
one
need
who said
everyone to
anything
have
policy
a
was
moment on the
Nikki Haley.
economy.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Can I address the
There are
COVID
two
issue?
people
Like,
who have
oh,
not
everything's
heard. We're gonna
corrupt,
get back to that.
everything's so. We need
There
a
are two people
patriots
we
in
have
the.
not heard from
Bro,
yet.
come
So
on.
this is
Who do you
Governor
think you
Burgum
are, Trump?
and then
Like,
from
come on
Governor
now.
Hutchinson on the economy, sir.
Well, great, thank you.
I think it was a hand raise for him, and it's my hands are in my pockets.
No,
because
no,
the
I
climate
didn't
change
raise-
agenda
I
is
didn't
a
raise a
hoax. Let us be honest as Republicans.
Climate change is a hoax.
I'm the only person on
Okay.
the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax. The climate change agenda is a hoax, and we have to declare independence for it. And the reality is, the anti-carbon agenda is the wet blanket on our economy. And so the reality is, more people are dying of bad climate change policies than they are of actual climate change.
I need him to prove that. What? What?
Listen,
What is that?
Hold on.
I've had enough. I've had enough already tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up here.
That's a good one.
The last person in one of these debates, Brett, who stood in the middle of the stage and said, "What's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here?" was Barack Obama, and I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur standing on stage tonight.
Oh, damn. Damn. I'm not gonna lie, that shot might deserve a point. I'm just saying. That shot might deserve a point.
Hold on.
I'm not against Vivek, but he's not saying anything. He's just saying a bunch of.
Are you
So,
bought
Brett,
and
what I
paid
would
for?
saying
like
lots
to
of-
say is
he's
the
just
fact that I
posturing.
think
in this country, and we know how to fix it. The question is, do we actually have the spine to do it? More cops in the streets who are on the streets able to do their jobs without looking over their shoulder for getting sued. And we also have a mental health epidemic in this country. Just over the same period.
Will he finally say a good point? More cops on the street. I don't know what do you mean by the Sioux part. I don't know what you mean by that. But more cops
that
on
we
the
have
street.
closed mental health institutions, we have seen a spike in violent crime. Do we have the spine to bring them back? I think we should. As president, I will. But it's not just drugging up people in those psychiatric institutions with Zoloft and Seroquel. It's a deeper issue. I think faith-based approaches can play a role here, too.
Whoa.
We're in the middle of a national identity crisis. And I say this as a member of my generation. The problem in our country right now, the reason we have that mental health epidemic, is that people are so hungry for purpose and meaning at a time when family, faith, patriotism, hard work have all disappeared.
He sounded like he wanted to kind of indoctrinate people into religion in the I mean, giving them the opportunity to be religious is not a bad thing. So I'm more curious, like, what he means by that. It's not actually a bad idea necessarily. I'm curious on what he means by that. Well, let me.
We really need is a tonal reset from the top, saying that this is what it means to be an American. Yes, we will stand for the rule of law. Yes, we will close the southern border where criminals are
posturing
coming in
a lot,
every
but
day.
I
And
actually
yes, we will back law
agree
enforcement
that
because we
purpose and meaning
remember
is
who we
lost
really are. And that's also
society.
how we address that mental health epidemic in the next generation that is directly leading to violent crime across this country.
Governor DeSantis, really quickly.
I'll give him
Governor
1 point.
DeSantis.
He didn't really say anything of note. I want to hear Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley actually says
new
stuff.
national identity. The
burger.
American people are the most faith-filled, freedom-loving, idealistic, hardworking people the world has ever known. We just need
I want to take another point away from
Mike,
Pence.
I
What are
think
you
the difference
talking
is
about,
You
bro?
might have some others like you may have on the stage. It's Morning in America speech. It is not Morning in America. We live in a dark moment, and we have to confront the fact that
Dark
we're
is
in
a
an
little
internal,
pessimistic.
sort of cold cultural civil
You
war.
are
And we have to
equating the
recognize
American
that in
people
order
with the
to actually
failed
win.
government in Washington, D.C. We just need government as good as our people again.
So let me just
Governor
finish
DeSantis,
addressing
I
that
wanna
slogan
weigh
because
in
I don't know
here.
what that slogan means. We need to
want you
shut
to
down
weigh
the
in, Governor
administrative
DeSantis.
state.
Crime-
That's actually how we translate it.
Crime has been on the rise.
Well, Mike, why don't you say this? Join me in making a commitment that on day one you would pardon Donald Trump. I'm the only candidate on the stage
Oh
who had the
my
courage
God,
to actually
Vivek,
say
I'm
it.
taking a point.
That is how we move our
Stop
nation
gawking
forward.
from
I don't know
and
why
turn the
you
page
think
forward.
Donald
That's exactly
Trump
right.
will be convicted of these crimes.
You should be able to make a commitment. The same justice system that was this
Vivek, here's
corrupt.
the difference between you and me.
Yeah, I'm not a professional politician. That's the difference. Who can answer a question?
I've actually given pardons when I was governor of the state of Indiana. It usually follows a finding of guilt and contrition by the individual that's been convicted. So, if I'm president of the United States, we'll give
Bro
fair
is just trying to
consideration
steal
any pardon
all
request.
Trump's
But if I
fans.
may,
Vivek,
if I may,
I can see why.
you know, it's not about looking back
Why
at
Paul is
January
not a fan of Vivek,
2021.
bro. He has not said
It's not
anything
January
policy-wise.
20th,
He just
2017.
postures.
Funding to Ukraine.
We would,
would not support it.
Europe needs to step up. I mean, I would have Europe step up.
I think anytime I say the word hate, I don't mean it like literally. I don't literally hate you. I don't care about you, but as a person. But like politics? Bro, I might hate Vivek. Like, I see why Paul doesn't like this guy. Bro, he is the typical Trump supporter who says nothing at all and just postures with conspiracy theories and generalized rhetoric. That is all he does.
And do their job.
But this is how you
Ramaswamy.
convince people, because people are so
But you're saying you
smooth-brained.
would not too, Governor DeSantis? Ukraine.
I would not. And I think that this is disastrous, that we are protected.
I hate Trump supporters, bro. Ain't no way y'all are cheering for this. Oh my God, bro. Why Vivek is giving such a... Bro, Vivek would be a terrible president. Y'all realize this guy would be a terrible president if he actually has no policy positions. Oh my goodness.
Against an invasion across somebody else's border when we should use those same military resources to prevent across the invasion of our own southern border here in the United States of America. We are driving Russia further into China's hands. The Russia-China alliance is the single greatest threat we face. And I find it offensive that we have professional politicians on the stage that will make a pilgrimage to Kyiv, to their Pope, Zelensky, without doing the same thing for people in
someone
Maui
actually
or the
who
South
knows what
Side
they're
of
talking about
Chicago
say
or
something? 'Cause
Kensington?
Vivek is just-
I think that we have to put the interests of
Vivek is-
Americans
oh my
first.
God, bro.
Secure our
What are
own
you
border instead of
talking
somebody
about?
else's.
He was referring-
And the reality is, this is also how we project strength
And he
by
says
making
we're
America
using
strong at
soundbites?
home.
Thank you.
All right, we
we're
heard,
gonna
we
go-
heard the names. Governor
let's
Christie
go to-
first.
All right,
Yeah.
look, I did
Bro,
go to Ukraine.
let Nikki
and I went
Haley
to
talk.
Ukraine because I
Okay, Pence.
We've done both.
I might
We've
get.
been
You
the
know
leader of the
what?
free world and the arsenal of
You get a point,
democracy for
Pence.
years. The Reagan Doctrine years ago made it clear. We said, if you're willing to fight the communists on your soil, we'll give you the means to fight them there so our troops don't have to fight them. Vivek, if we do the giveaway that you want to give to Putin to give him his land, it's not going to be too long before he rolls across a NATO border, and frankly, our men and women of our armed forces are going to have to go and fight him. I want to let the Ukrainians fight and drive Putin and the Russians back out into Russia.
I want to just
So our
briefly
troops
address
aren't gonna
Pence.
have to make that
Vice
fight.
President Pence. I have a
30
newsflash.
seconds
The
to make
USSR does not exist anymore. It fell back in 1990.
Did I say
the real
What?
threat- You talked about the
What are you
communists.
talking
And the
about?
real communists that we have to address
Do you
right
not
now
have any
is the
idea what
I let
Vladimir
you-
Putin's aims
you
are?
already spoke. Now I actually have something to say.
Vladimir
30
Putin has been saying he wants to reestablish the old Soviet sphere
You've made
of
your point,
influence.
Vice President.
Vice
Now, if
President
you
Pence,
think, I'm
leave it.
sorry if I insulted him by calling him a communist. He is a dictator and a murderer, and the United States of America needs to stand against authoritarianism. especially
Mr.
with
Ramaswamy,
Putin.
30
Briefly
seconds.
respond. The real threat we face today is communist China, and we are driving Russia further into China's arms. The Russia-China
This is such a stupid thing to say. Oh yeah, Russia, you could take over Ukraine. Just don't go to China. What are you talking about? What brain dead philosophy is this? What are
military
you talking
alliance
about?
is the single greatest threat we face. Nobody in either political party is talking about it. And I am the only non-neocon.
Bro,
President,
Nikki
us out.
and
Mr.
Bergam
President,
both
we
brought
can't
up
hear
China.
Mr. Vice
Is
President.
to give Russia
Mr. Vice
everything
President.
they've got.
Mr. Vice President.
Give them a promise that Ukraine will never be in NATO, and then somehow
Mr. Vice President.
China
Like a
will not
savior
think
of, like,
about taking
mankind,
Taiwan.
bro.
We achieve peace through strength.
Mr. Vice
and America
President.
needs to stand for freedom.
I'm gonna get Pence
Here
another
we
point
go.
for that.
I
I
think we
don't know
need
why.
to establish
Vivek
some
is
ground
so
rules.
brain
When we
dead.
hear this bell,
Yes.
that means your time's
We're
done.
done.
I mean, shut
So, Mr. Vice
up.
President, we appreciate your aggressiveness.
See, I
here.
would be if I was
30 seconds is
moderating.
30
I'll be
seconds.
more
Mr.
professional than I
Ramaswamy,
am
you
right
were
now.
mentioned. You get 30
But
seconds.
I would be like,
The
bro,
reality is,
shut your
that
mouth.
Today,
No, I'm just kidding.
Ukraine is not a priority for the United
Well, why they
States
boo?
of
What
America.
happened?
And
30 seconds. Mr. Ramaswamy, you were mentioned. You get 30 seconds.
so the reality is that today, Ukraine is not a priority for the United States of America. And I think that the same people who took us into the Iraq War, the same people who took us into the Vietnam
Oh my God, he's posturing. He's posturing so hard, bro. I'm getting tired of listening to
War,
Vivek. Not gonna
you
lie.
cannot end it. You're not
The same people who sent us to Vietnam and Iraq are the people that sent us to Ukraine. They're wasting military money and sending us to a war that we don't need to be a part of. They're sending our troops to their death. Blah, blah, blah. Like, come on.
another
What are you talking
no-win
about?
war. And I do not want to get to the point where we're sending our military resources abroad when we could be better using them here at home to protect our own borders, protect the homeland.
All right.
That will be my top priority in foreign
I think
policy.
we gave you
protect
more
this
than the 30
homeland.
seconds
There's
in the rebuttal.
nothing
So I do want to get to some other people
Our
because
homeland is
everybody,
protected.
We
We're not
respect
scared of
everybody's time
Mexico.
here. So
Like,
Governor Haley.
you think Canada's about to
you
invade us?
Did not raise your hand.
No,
meaning that
okay, I'm
you
not gonna be
would
ignorant and
support
say, like,
more
okay.
funding
Oh,
for the
let me hear
Ukraine
Nikki.
war.
I hear Nikki.
You have said of Governor DeSantis that you didn't appreciate it when he initially called it a territorial dispute. Why?
First of all, the American president needs to have moral clarity. They need to know the difference between right and wrong. They need to know the difference between good and evil. Right. When you look at the situation with Russia and Ukraine, here you have a pro-American country that was invaded by a thug. So when you want to talk about what has been given to Ukraine, less than 3.5% of our defense budget has been given to Ukraine. If you look at the percentages
Bro,
per
Nikki
GDP,
Haley. Okay.
11 of the
Oh my God,
European
Nikki
countries
Haley.
have given more than the U.S. But what's really important is go back to
Point.
when China and Russia held hands, shook hands before the Olympics, and named themselves unlimited partners. A win for Russia is a win for China. We have to know that.
Oh
Ukraine
my
is
goodness.
the first line
She's
of
cooking
defense for us.
everybody on
And
the
problem
panel.
that Vivek
She's
doesn't
destroying them.
understand is he wants to hand Ukraine to Russia. He wants to let China eat Taiwan. He wants to go and stop funding Israel. You don't do that to friends. What you do instead is you have the backs of your friends. Ukraine is the front line of defense. Putin has said once Russia takes Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. That's a world war. We're trying to prevent war. Look at what Putin did today. He killed Prigozhin. When I was at the UN,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Russian
bro,
ambassador
that's
suddenly
crazy.
died. This guy is a murderer, and you are choosing a murderer over a pro-American country.
Bro, Nikki Haley is the best Republican candidate by far. Like, it's like Nikki Haley, Burgum, and everybody else. Like, they are nowhere close to her. Bro, Trump supporters, Republicans. I'm not even a Republican. I'm just looking at this very unbiasedly. I'm just hearing what they're saying. Republicans, Nikki Haley should be your primary nominee. She should be. She is better than everybody else. Vivek sucks. DeSantis sucks. Trump sucks. Nikki Haley is better. Oh my goodness.
First of all, Mr. Ramaswamy, you have 30 seconds. Mr. DeSantis, Governor
Nikki,
DeSantis,
I wish you well in your future career on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon.
You know, I'm not on
but
the
fact
boards
of the matter,
Lockheed and Raytheon, and you know,
Boeing came off of it, but you've been pushing this lie. You've been pushing this lie all week,
Nikki. You want
Nikki.
to go and defund Israel? You want to
Okay,
give
let me
Taiwan
address
to
that.
China?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Go and give
I'm going to
Ukraine
address
Russia?
each of those right now. This is
And you attacked her first. Yeah, get him, Nikki. Get him.
Your watch,
So the
you will
reality
make
is-
America less safe. You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
And you know what?
Oh my God. She's cooking him. She's cooking him. Nikki's cooking him. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Vivek is drowning.
Oh. Never be stronger than by the end of my first term. But it's not a client relationship. It is a friendship. And you know what friends do? Friends help each other stand on their own 2 feet. So I will lead Abraham.
What are you talking about? Well, that's not how foreign policy works. What are you talking about? Vivek, what are you saying? You're just talking. You're not making any sense.
Accords 2.0. I will partner with Israel to make sure Iran never is nuclear armed. But you know what I love about Israel? And I've been there probably in the last 10 years more than most people on this stage. You know what I love about them? I love their border policies. I love their tough on crime policies.
Bro,
I love that
just
they have a national
scapegoated the whole
identity
conversation.
and an iron dome to protect their homeland.
He's a politician.
And so, yes, I want to
He's
learn
good
from
at
the
what he
friends that we're
does.
supporting.
He's playing
And
the
what puzzles
politics
me
game.
is, no,
I hate the politics
Apply
game.
those to protect
I
our
love what
homeland.
Nikki's doing,
Israel
actually
needs
saying stuff.
America. America needs Israel.
Okay,
They are
Governor
the
DeSantis,
front line of defense
Governor
to
DeSantis, you were mentioned that the Department of Education, the FBI, the ATF, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the IRS, the Department of Commerce, many of these should not exist.
That's correct.
No, what? Oh, God. Vivek is so fucking brain dead. Oh my God. Let me hear that list again. Vivek is actually just not, should never be a politician. He just factually should not.
Graduating students that don't have any foundation in what it means to be an American.
Mr. Ramaswamy, Mr. Ramaswamy, hold on, Senator Scott. You've said that the Department of Education, the FBI, the ATF, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the IRS, the Department of Commerce, many of these should not exist.
That's correct.
So to the education question, how would you deal with the crisis?
So look, we have a crisis of achievement. Let's shut down the head of the snake, the
I wish
Department of
Jonathan was
Education.
here to react to
Take
this
that
with me,
$80 billion, put it in the hands of parents across this country. This is the civil rights issue of our time.
What? What are you talking about? Wait, let me hear that again.
Commerce, many of these should not exist.
That's correct.
So
I'm
to
listening,
the education question, how would you deal with the crisis?
So look, we have a crisis of achievement. Let's shut down the head of the snake, the Department of Education. Take that $80 billion, put it in the hands of parents across this country. This is the
Bro, I might make another video talking about how Vivek is absolutely stupid. Like, he's brain dead. He's factually just brain dead.
Civil rights issue of our time. Allow any parent to choose where they send their kids to school. End the teachers' unions at the local level to allow public schools to compete. And then revive our national...
I have to hear every single point here, bro, because, like...
The civil rights issue of our time. Allow any parent to choose where they send their kids to school. End the teachers' unions at the local level to allow public schools to compete.
So, you want to cancel the Department of Education. You want to end teacher unions. The public schools by me are fucking... I agree, public education is bad. But this man wants to end teachers unions. They're already getting screwed over in terms of pay and benefits and support. And he wants to end the Department of Education. So we have no federal standard of education across the nation. Like, this man's brain dead. He's actually brain dead.
And then revive
Vivek's
our
brain
national identity where every high school senior should have to pass the same civics test that, frankly, every immigrant, including my mother, had to pass in order to become a citizen of this country. And
Hey. Oh my goodness. He said every high school senior has to pass a civics test to be an American. Oh my god, bro. What are we talking about? I mean, I think they should know civics, but what the oh my god. He said, I think he's trying to appeal to the people against the teachers' unions. Oh yeah, he's playing the politics game. But I hate the politics game. I want you to say what you mean and mean what you say. And Vivek is just brain dead. He's actually just like he's like he just says stuff and doesn't really think things through. Ain't no way he said every senior has to pass a civics test to be an American citizen. Ain't no way he just said that. That's actually insane to me.
the fact of the matter is, look, there's a part of education
So
policy that
insane to
also
me.
rests with the family. I didn't grow up in money. But you know the word privilege gets used a lot? Well, you know what? I did have the ultimate privilege of two parents in the house with a focus on educational achievement. And I want every kid to enjoy that. So part of the problem is we also
Everything
have a
you're
federal
saying
government
is counterproductive
that
to
pays
that.
single women more not to have a man in the house than to have a man in the house.
Okay, welfare is a different conversation. I'm willing to listen. Everything else you said was absolute dumb. I'm about to use like bad words to explain how dumb these things you're saying are. But let me hear what you got to say
Contributing to
about
an
welfare.
epidemic of fatherlessness. And I think that goes hand in glove with the education crisis as well, because we have to remember education starts with the family, and the nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind.
I think family is important. I agree there,
Governor
Vivek.
has said